Welcome back to the Midnight Mirage. We in for another classic. So in the previous tapes, we talked a little bit about what to expect when you are on that journey or that voyage to the promised land. When I use the promised land in these tapes, the context is a desired lifestyle, a desired outcome from your hard work, or whatever the blessing that the higher power has intended for you in this lifetime, you receiving it. So in other words, that ultimate gratification that we all seek to experience here in the physical and in the spiritual as well, because the promised land is not only a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing as well. When all of us have our physical departure and we leave this world, our soul or our inner essence, what we truly are, it'll go back on its journey or its path to its origin or where it came from. And to our inner self, our true self, the origin or the true abode where we come from is the desired outcome for our spiritual journey. So that promised land is a spiritual place, and it's also a physical manifestation here on the earth that we can create from, our hard work, using our gifts and talents as well. So in this tape, we will continue that a little bit and prepare you brothers for the success that's coming in 2022. Prepare you brothers for the boost and the increase in lifestyle. Prepare you brothers for the increased level of competition and the advanced level of chess. As they say, this is chess, not checkers. The advanced level of chess that you must play, the mental military war games and warfare that you must engage in to compete in the world of financial success. Because just because you want to go into the promised land doesn't mean that somebody's just going to open up the door for you and let you in. And the people that may already be dwelling in the promised land also doesn't mean they want to see you there. Because as human beings and as men leading our ethnic national groups, leading our families and households, it's about competition, So understand that nobody's going to give you the $1 million. Nobody's just going to direct deposit and wire you a bunch of money to your checking and savings account. You got to go in and put on the work, and you got to compete with others to obtain these things. So you brothers got to get into the mindset of being an entrepreneur, being a one who provides a product or service, and, being an investor, meaning that you're investing in ideas and things you see fit. Maybe you invest in even, in certain people that you may see fit. But you being what's called a man, you being an independent man, you relying on yourself and you relying on a higher power. You're not relying on no government, or you're not relying on any other kind of Marxist, communist, socialist, democratic, handout for you to be able to live comfortably. All right. We're going out here and we're getting it ourselves. Also understand, just like Moses did, when he told Joshua that some of the people that you want to take with you to the promised land, they will betray you once they get on the inside. They will renege. They will go against the covenants and the agreements that we all once made when we were staying down to come up. So a lot of people are going to come up, they're going to rise up, and they're going to forget all the, principles and the morals and the good characteristics and the strength that they obtained and gained while they were in that exodus from Egypt. And that exodus from Egypt may be you starting your business. Maybe some of you all are homeless. Maybe you don't have a vehicle. Whatever kind of situation you may be dealing with that's tough, that's your exodus of Egypt to the promised land. All right. So just know that at some point it's going to end. But are you really ready for the success? All right. As I said in prior tapes, have you been running your routes, even though the ball hadn't been coming your way? Because now this is the game winning touchdown play, and the higher power may get ready to call your name. Are you in the right position? So in this tape, we'll talk a little deeper about, Joshua, the troops that took Jericho, and just the continuous competition with the various adversarial forces that were dwelling in the promised land. In the Old Testament history, the people dwelling in the promised land were various Hamitic tribes, the Canaanites, etc. So a lot of the Shemitic Israelites, they were going to war with those people for the land and the resources, because one of their forefathers, a Canaanite forefather, he reneged on a land contract and he infiltrated into some Shemitic territory. So when the exodus of Egypt was over, those descendants who were of that day of Israel, they went to reclaim what was theirs. All right. And that's what you brothers are doing. You about to reclaim what was once yours. You know, get back into that seat of power and being a king or being an emperor. OK, so what we're talking about is, you know, strategies and methodical mindsets, tactics used and necessary for you to gain power. All right. So let's see what we're dealing with in this tape. We're going to really read from a variety of sources. I'm going to read a little bit from the book called The Prince by Machiavelli. And I'm going to read out of the Bible, and I'm going to read out of the Quran. All right. Before we move forward, as you can see on the screen in front of you is a very, very important quote that will be the moral of the story or the nucleus of this tape, because being a king or an emperor, you must possess various traits that society may make you think conflict each other. But it's very, very important and pertinent for you to understand this if you're going to gain some type of power and you're going to maintain it. All right. It says, the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. I'm going to repeat. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. So think about how the Shemitic Israelite men of the Old Testament, they would go by any means necessary, you know, to get the power and get what was needed, and in order to make sure righteousness and justice was restored. Just think about, for example, with Jacob and Esau, how he was willing to deceive his father in order to make sure that the inheritance went through him. So just because the higher power has, you know, declared something, it doesn't mean that some of us won't have to get our hands dirty in order to get the inheritance. No, you will get your hands dirty. So there are certain traits and attributes that you got to have, and you can't be feeling like, you know, this is the bad thing to do or this is the wrong thing to do, because that type of mindset is going to keep you from reaching the highest level of power. Because as I said in a prior tape, when it comes to the world of, you know, money and success and finance, anything goes, and people will do anything to get it. So you got to know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And what you're willing to do has to be enough for you to obtain the power, sustain the power, and put fear in others to let them know if they challenge you that they got something serious to deal with. And it's going to be a life and death situation. Let's move forward. Spiritual power is very important in the highest level of financial competition. In this world, the inner desires and intent of one's inner soul, spirit, or life energy, heart, and mind will determine what type of spiritual support one receives. Some people follow their natural organic path, which will lead them to the promised land. This path includes many tests, trials, and tribulations. This path requires patience and obedience to the higher power's purpose for your life. Many reject this path. So as I said, you know, all of us have been blessed with a certain skill and talent and something that we can be able to provide to the earth that'll be of service to others. But most of us don't want to go through the natural organic process to become that true higher self and manifest that gift that was within us. So a lot of us just want to be given something. We want to just be placed on top. We don't want to really go through that hard grind and go through that process. So sometimes, you know, you'll hear that quote, they'll say it's about the journey and not necessarily the destination. Some of us want to just rush and get to the destination and, you know, not pay attention to that intricate detail of the experience on that journey, because that's really what it's all about. So we want to just skip past it. And a lot of us that try to skip past it, those will be people that, you know, join certain quote unquote secret societies, and they get in these certain communities and they organize amongst each other because they really are scared to individually go about things the right way and to obtain riches and wealth the right way. And then they start making allegiances and alliances with certain adversarial spiritual forces, we'll say. Others who tend to identify with their ego, five senses, and material lust make pacts with less spiritual forces in creation to obtain power and force their way into the promised land. In the world of money, always remember there are no rules. Anything goes in order to win in financial competition. So as I said, those people who are, they identify very, very closely with their five senses, their sensual self, their human self, their lower self, and their desires are really more egotistical. They're more narcissistic in their nature, meaning that they're really only about preserving themselves. They're really about, providing a good lifestyle for themselves and sustaining themselves. For example, this would be some of those tyrannical kings of the Old Testament, for example, that wanted to erect the Tower of Babel. Ultimately, what they wanted to do was live a comfortable lifestyle at the expense of others' labor and the hard work of others. So they would enslave people and they would use their, let's say, gifts and talents to subjugate people and force other people to create a good lifestyle for them. An example of that would be the Egyptian king when the Shemitic Israelites were living in Egypt. And what that person did was denationalize them, destroyed their culture and forced them in servitude while they were living within, the territory of so-called Egypt. So understand that everybody wants to live, in a world of money and have power and success, but everybody don't want to go about the right way of getting it. So some people want to force others to do the work and force them into servitude. OK, so those type of people are, who I'm talking about. In the world of riches, resources, wealth, and comfortable lifestyles, people are being rewarded by either the higher power / God or Shayateen and his adversarial spiritual army. At some point in our lives, we've made an agreement deep within our heart / mind, and our behavior, actions, and deeds manifest our genuine desires. So, as it's written, in the world of riches, finance, wealth, comfortable lifestyles, as they say, the quote unquote, world life of the rich and famous, everybody in that realm is either being blessed from the higher power and that natural path that they took to get there, or they're being blessed by the Shayateen and some other, we'll say, malefic spiritual force that is assisting them in their material gratification. So, you got to understand, like, what the higher power has destined for you is not necessarily what your ego may want. And the same comfortable lifestyle that you may want, the higher power wants for you. But there are certain trials and tribulations that you got to go through to build character. So when you get this blessing and get this reward, it won't go over your head. We'll just say, it won't go over your head, and you won't be egotistical, and you'll be able to stay grounded with it. So you have people blessed by the Shayateen or certain adversarial forces who they're very materialistic and they have carnal lust. So there are certain forces and even human beings who really are just in their lower self, and that's all they're concerned with. And they make pacts and deals and agreements with each other. So a person's behavior, their actions, and their deeds, they'll manifest their true, inner genuine desire. So when we saying the inner desire, we mean, your heart and your mind and your soul. When you contemplating, when you may be praying, and the things that you want in your life, you got to really ask yourself, why do I want these things? Why does my heart and my mind desire this? And after doing a certain, proper accounting, you'll start learning more about your inner self and who you truly are. And a lot of that will determine the path you take. So even me, for example, there are a lot of, shiesty Machiavellian ways about myself. But in my inner heart, I'm a righteous man. And I want to be of service to whatever the higher power has, not only for my life, but whatever direction overall humanity and creation is supposed to go in. I'm not a narcissistic person where I'm going to go against that and it got to be all about me and what I want. I don't really feel like that. That's why a lot of the decisions I make, the business arrangements I make, they tend not to reflect that. They're not some deal where I'm just going to come up and everybody else get, crossed out and, I'm backdooring people and all that. I'm not going to do that. So I'll tend to stay on that, organic path that was laid out for me, even when I deal with the hardships that come with it. Whereas others, they'll run from it and they'll start to, make deals with something else. All right. Military mind games and warfare must be played in the field of financial competition. And a king must have certain traits in order to maintain and obtain power. So now we're going to read Machiavelli's Lion and Fox and talk about strength and cunning, which are two traits needed by a king or an emperor or a man that's a leader, a man of power. All right. Which is what you brothers are going to become in 2022. Those of you who've been doing their homework and have been staying on the right path up until now. So just because it's a new year, it don't mean that stuff just going to start going good for you. But if you've been staying down to come up the right way, then it will. All right. Give me a quick second, real quick. It looks like I'm having some technical malfunctions with some of my technology. Give me a brief moment. I apologize about this. Also, too, I saw the comment, that somebody made that in some of the previous tapes that is cutting off towards the end. I think it's doing that because it may be the screen recorder I'm using. And when it's processing at the end, some of the editing, I think it may accidentally cut some of it out, possibly. Or maybe even when I upload it to YouTube, it does that. But nevertheless, whichever one it is, I apologize about it. And eventually we will get that fixed. But right now what I'm doing is I'm rebooting the computer and I'm letting it, load back up so I can get the information and we can go into the line in the Fox. So right now, just give me a quick second. Maybe if you need a pencil and, pad, you can go and grab it real quick. If you got some water or something like that, maybe you can drink some real quick. I just want to let this load up. So what we're going to do is while it's loading up, we'll just review what we've read real quick, in the notes. So as I said, in the first bulletin or the first part is that spiritual power is very, very important when you get to these higher levels of financial competition, meaning that everybody has some type of a spiritual system, some type of a spiritual code and principle that they're abiding by. It's either one that's malefic and it may be demonic or satanic in fashion, or it may be righteous and it is in alignment with whatever the goals are that the higher creator has for creation itself. But either way it goes, understand that, everybody in this realm, they're dealing with one or the other, and they're either dealing with it consciously or unconsciously. So some of us are dealing with the higher power or God because we're seeking him out and we're looking to be obedient and we're looking for the signs and, the guidance that he gives us. And some of us are looking for the Shayateen and we're looking for dark forces to help us with certain, egotistical goals that the higher power will not assist you in. All right. So understand that the higher power, is not going to assist you in anything of the lower self. It's going to be something that's going to contribute to your higher self. And it'll also contribute to greater humanity and creation, at the same time. So you'll be blessed and you'll be blessed in creation at the same time. But if it's going to be something just about you and your five senses being pleased, the higher power won't necessarily give you support for that. He won't try to stop you from getting it. But at the same time, you'll get signs that that's not something you're supposed to be dealing with. But if that's just a choice you want to make and you want to go down that road, then so be it. The next point we want to talk about real quick is that in the world of riches, resources, wealth, and a comfortable lifestyle, that people are being rewarded either by the higher power or God, or they're being rewarded by the Shayateen or some type of adversarial force. All right. So when you hear me use the word higher power, that's just God, the source, the creator, whatever you want to call it, the most high. But God is just, it's a general term. Also, right now, we still staying real general. We waiting for the computer to load back up. I just didn't want it to be a bunch of silence. So I'm doing my best to keep you all engaged while it's also loading back up right now. Okay, let me open up my browser. But as I was saying, though, everybody's being blessed by either the higher power of creation or the Shayateen. And that's another thing. Let me say real quick that the Shayateen or the adversarial forces in creation, they're not against the higher power. They're not rivals of the higher power. They're here for us, actually. So the higher power of God, he doesn't have any competition. He doesn't have any rivals or, anything that's on its level. It is what it is. All right. Also, military mind games and warfare must be played in the realm or the field of financial competition. Very, very important for you to understand that. All right, so we got the browser loading back up, and hopefully it opens up the pages before it shut down, because sometimes it'll do that for me. All right, we're going to restore. All right, we got the information loading back up, so I appreciate you being patient for me for these last couple of seconds or however long it's been. All right, so now what we're going to do is go into Machiavelli's Lion and Fox. Let's see what we got. How commendable in a prince it is to keep his word and live with integrity, not making use of cunning and subtlety, everyone knows well. Yet we see by experience in these our days that those princes have effected great matters, who have made small reckoning of keeping their word, and have known by their craft to turn and wind men about, and in the end have overcome those who have grounded upon the truth. You must then know there are two kinds of combating or fighting, the one by right of the laws, the other merely by force. The first way is proper to men, the other is also common to beasts. But because the first many times suffices not, there is necessity to make recourse to the second. Very, very important. Let's keep going. A prince then being necessitated to know how to make use of that part belonging to a beast, ought to serve himself of the conditions of the fox and the lion. For the lion cannot keep himself from snares, nor the fox defend himself against the wolves. He had need then be a fox, that he may beware of the snares, and a lion, that he may scare the wolves. Those that stand wholly upon the lion understand not well themselves, and therefore a wise prince cannot, nor ought not keep his faith given, when the observance thereof turns to disadvantage, and the occasions that made him promise are past. For if men were all good, this rule would not be allowable. But being they are full of mischief, and would not make it good to thee, neither art thou tied to keep it with them. Nor shall a prince ever want lawful occasions to give color to this breach. And Machiavelli, he continues on. But let's see what we're going to get and evaluate from this, because these are tactics and keys needed for your military mind games when you enter into the promised land. It says right here that there are two ways of fighting or combat. The one by right of the laws, the other merely by force. The first way is proper to men. The other also is common to beasts. So already what Machiavelli is telling us is that in the world of combat and fighting, you either can fight quote unquote fair, or you can fight like how the beast would fight. And in the world of beast, there are no rules. So in the world of man, when it comes to finance, men try to act like they're noble. Men try to act like they're righteous, and men try to act like they're lawful and they're fair, even when it comes to competition. But the truth is that they're not. You want to know how that's true? Because I'm not. That's how deep this shit is. Because I'm fucking not. Yeah, Riverdale shit. This shit cutthroat. Nigga on some shicey shit. This shit shicey season. What my nigga Pooh Shicey say? This shit shicey season. Yeah, nigga, hey, it is what it is, nigga. Riverdale red stick shit. So, nigga ain't too righteous for none of this shit by any means necessary. And you just got to know where you draw the line for yourself. So understand that. It goes on to say, a prince then being necessitated to know how to make use of that belonging to the beast, ought to serve himself the conditions of the lion and the fox. For the lion cannot keep himself from snares, nor the fox defend himself against the wolves. So think about how the lion, how he's big, he's bulky, he's powerful, he's mighty, and he's strong. But he doesn't see those little snares and them little traps. He doesn't see those potholes. He doesn't see those bear claws and those bear traps. He doesn't see those bushes or those leaves on top of the hole in the ground that he's going to walk over. So the lion typically can get caught in these deceptive traps because he's using his strength and his brawn and his brutality to get through everything. Then you have the fox. The fox, although he's cunning, he's wise, he's sneaky, he's deceptive, he's illusory, he's enigmatic. He can see the snares, he can see the traps, but he doesn't have the brawn and the strength and the size of the lion. So he tends to not be able to defend himself from the wolves, and they steal his prey. So in order for you to be that true king or that true emperor, you have to embody both the traits of the fox and the lion. You have to have the cunning, deceptive traits to see through the mirage, to see through the illusions, to see through the tricks of the Shayateen. You have to have the fox or the serpentine wisdom to see through that. Because in this situation, and we're going to see in a minute, Machiavelli, like the lion and the fox, is an ancient comparison. Just like you have the serpent and the dove by Yahushua. So the serpent and the dove is the same as the lion and the fox. It's showing you these polarity forces you must need in order to be successful at something. So this is a very, very important Machiavellian tactic. Strength and cunning. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from the wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten the wolves. So people got to be able to fear you. They got to know that it's some cutthroat, brutal shit about you. They got to know that you'll go to that savage level. They got to know that you'll bring out the bestiality within yourself, that bestial nature. You understand? They got to know you'll get on some grimy shit. They got to know that maybe you'll do some backdoor and shit. But at the same time, you got to have the cunning and the deceptive moves of the fox and be able to hide in the shadows. Not always use your strength and not do a bunch of wolfing and trying to use the power of the lion all the time, poking your chest out. Sometimes it's good to sit back in the cut and just take notes. Just like Joshua when he sent the intelligence agents, the intelligence spies into Canaan to scope out the promised land. You don't just go in there doing a bunch of fighting and making a bunch of noise. Sometimes you got to send the agent to the ops to gather information and intel. So these are the military mind games that niggas is, got to pipe up on to really get what you're supposed to get out of this life game. The Luciferian / Satanic societies of the money world is what we about to go into now. Those who live inside of Jericho. Today, the most successful in the world of financial competition are those who have chosen to make conscious pacts with Shayateen. And because they worship the Shayateen the right way, they receive their rewards. As long as they provide whatever the Shayateen desire, whatever sacrifices are required, human Luciferians and Satanists are guaranteed success in the world of material gratification. So understand that, you got people in the world of material gratification. We ain't going to spend too much time going into it, but we done talked about the Bacchanalian cults. We've talked about the Baphometic cults and the secret societies of so-called Hollywood, etc., the government, the deep state, etc., the Freemasonry, etc. We already know about all that. So that's ultimately what that is. Okay. So what I want to do right now is go into Matthew chapter 4, and we'll read how the Shayateen will approach you to take you on that mountaintop and offer you an easier pathway to success. So understand, like certain street niggas, they're not conscious Satanists. They're unconscious Satanists. They're playing into that blood sport game of killing and offering up, blood for these dark forces to feed upon in the streets. And a lot of them are being rewarded with, success in the drug game, the scamming game, or whatever game they in, the trafficking game, the prostitution game, whatever they play. They're being awarded, success in it. But because they aren't paying their homage to Lucifer or Satan, and they're not praying and worshiping and praising him the right way, that's why street niggas end up having, short lifespans, and they end up crashing out and end up going to jail or dying real quick. See, these real Luciferians and Satanists that are part of the Silicon Valley, that are part of Wall Street, that are part of big government, that are part of Hollywood, these big corporate millionaires and billionaires of the world, see, they worship Lucifer and Satan the right way. They do. And at the same time, they're not going against other Luciferians and Satanists. They're going against the people who are under God's or the Most High's army. They're going after the higher powers people. So they're going after the Shemitic Israelites. So they're going after people who read the Bible, read the Quran, try to be righteous, try to have good deeds. They go after those people. That's why you'll have a situation with an Oklahoma bombing, allegedly, and random people who may not be bad people, how they get killed in it. Or these random drive-bys by these so-called Crip and Blood members or these different gang people. And some little baby or some little, child was killed in it. Or even the 9/11 World Trade Center, where a bunch of innocent people lose their life. See, when these top Luciferians and these top Satanists, when they orchestrate their rituals and they kill righteous people, they're greatly and highly rewarded for that. Highly rewarded. You doing a street crime and going just to kill another nigga on the block, Lucifer or Satan, he's not going to reward you that much for that. He'll give you a few shekels, but he's not going to give you more. He needs you to go kill a baby. He needs you to rape a baby. Yeah. He needs you to dome check a grandma. Like when them dudes went and shot up Honeycomb Brazy grandparents' house in Alabama last year. My niggas that, kind of follow the hip hop thing, the rapper Honeycomb Brazy out of Alabama. And when the street niggas went and shot up his grandma's house, and then the house caught on fire, yeah, they was highly rewarded for Lucifer or Satan for that. Yeah, them was some good praying Southern people. And they killed them. So understand there's levels to this shit. And you got to know what side of the field you on. You either with the higher power or you're not. That's what 2022 is about. Chapter 4 in Matthew. Then was Yahushua led up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil, or Shayateen. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of God. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. All this fucking old English shit. This shit. Anyway, where I'm at. Then it says, And Yahushua said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Now, this is the very, very important part right here, because, when you read about people so-called selling their soul to the devil to get into the entertainment industry, to get into the financial industry, or whatever industry it is, and to have success in it, ultimately it's a reoccurrence of what happened to Yahushua when he was taken upon the mountaintop. And let's see what happened. Because this is what happened to a lot of people and a lot of brothers when they enter into the promised land. You start hanging with certain people, and you start seeing that it is ways to increase your money, but there is a certain path you got to take. And this is a very, very shady, shadowy path. Let's see what this path is. And it says, Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and said unto him, All these things I will give thee, if you bow down and fall to the... Excuse me, reread that. And Satan said unto him, All these things I will give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Yahushua unto him, Get behind me, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So the important part I want you to get out of this is that the Shayateen, at some point, directly or indirectly, you'll either be conscious of it or you'll be unconscious of it. You're going to be approached and be taken to the mountaintop. And the Shayateen will be in the form of a man. It will be a man under the inspiration of the Shayateen. And he will come to be a tempter, or it may be a woman under the inspiration of the Shayateen. And you will experience the same thing when you enter into the promised land. So watch out for these strange people in the promised land offering you extra opportunities, offering you ways to boost up your portfolio. It says, Again, the devil took him to an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. So he showed him, look, I'll give you all this shit, man. What are you doing? Don't you want to be the ruler of this? These people will worship you. This is what he told Yahushua. And said unto him, All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me. So Yahushua was told by the Shayateen, look, if you worship me and if I'm your source of light and if you obey me, then I will give you all these things. And then Yahushua told him that you're supposed to only worship the higher power and serve him only. So keep in mind that, these are these pacts that are made for people to get that success in the promised land. Because just like you saw in the garden with Adam and Eve, there will always be a tempter in the promised land, in the garden, in paradise, whatever you want to call it. The higher power will always allow the tempter to be there, because the tempter serves as a measuring tool for those who need to stay in the garden, those who may need to leave the garden, etc. And these tests are a lot for ourselves. The higher power knows our hearts and knows who we really are and what we'll do. But it has to naturally play out, because the higher power is not a dictator. The higher power won't force you to do something. You see? So because, these street gangsters, because they don't make conscious pacts with Satan and they don't worship him the right way, they have short careers. And as I said, these top Luciferians and these top Satanists, because they do it the right way, they have more success. All right. And we're going to wrap it up with the last two things coming out of Matthew, and then we're going to go into the Quran. In Matthew chapter 10, in verse 16, we have Yahushua. He's talking to his apostles, and he says, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be you therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So think about when Machiavelli wrote in his book, The Prince, that the lion and the fox, that both of these attributes must be acquired for success. And Yahushua is telling his apostles the same thing. He's telling them, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So that means you be vigilant and be aggressive. Be cunning. Be wise as the serpent. See, the serpent is a very, very cunning symbol, we'll say. It's a symbol. It's a cunning symbol. It's somebody who can use wit, and somebody who's very, very intellectual. And because they have a high level of intelligence, they have an ease when it comes to manipulating the mind and the emotions of others. They can see the blind spots of reality. OK, they can see what's in the subconscious minds of others, even at sometimes. So the serpent is a symbol of wisdom and cunning intelligence. OK, high level intelligence. And you must be like that. All right. You don't need to always show your hand. But at the same time, you have to be gentle, and you have to have the good heart and the good spirit as the dove, because the dove is, symbolic of the Holy Spirit. Just like when Noah, and the flood ended, and you saw the, symbol of the rainbow and of the dove. All right. So you're not supposed to be out here, doing the righteous people wrong. You're supposed to be going to war with the Satanists and the Luciferians. Those are the adversaries, for both the spiritual ones and the physical ones. Those are our adversaries. Those are the ones you need to go to war with. Those are the ones that you use the Machiavellian tactics to destroy. All right. So you got to know who your enemy is in this too. That's why a lot of that, street beef, the so-called black male just kind of, going to war with each other. I mean, that shit really is like played out and it's old, like, and we won't really get any success from that. So to wrap it up, what we have, we're going to come out of the Quran in Surah 14, verse 21 through 22. Let's see what we got. Because at some point, when you make these pacts and these agreements with the Shayateen, they will give you, what it is you think you want. So you will be blinded by the light. You'll be blinded by Lucifer's light. How many of y'all ever heard the song, Blinded by the Light? Any of y'all ever heard that? Blinded by the light. They were blinded by Lucifer's light. That false light. When you getting all the so-called money, everything's feeling good. It's a short-lived thing. Kind of like the movie Scarface. Think about it. In the beginning of the movie, he was off the boat. He ain't have nothing. Then he went through his, rise to, getting in the dope game. Then it showed the scene when he was on the phone with Sosa. Everything was going good. The money was coming in. He was opening businesses for his sister. Then it go a few scenes later after that to where, he didn't do what the plug needed him to do. Because whenever you do a deal with the Shayateen, you got to sacrifice something. So when Tony didn't want to sacrifice the innocent woman, the righteous woman, and her children, then he had to, you got to pay with your life when you're dealing with Satan. And that's what that was a symbol was. See, that was a righteous woman and righteous children. They didn't have anything to do with the drug game. That woman's husband was a reporter, and he was about to put out news information that Sosa didn't want. And that man even was probably a righteous man. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But Tony at least was willing to, blow him up. But when he saw that it was those women and those children, Tony wasn't willing to do that. And he had to pay with his life. Because Tony chose the path, to be under Satan. He went under the path of the higher power. So the higher power allowed Satan to, cash in. And then, of course, the goons was sent, and then that was all she wrote. So it was a very, very short-lived success, and it's a deception. Tony was blinded by the light. And a lot of you street niggas, blinded by the light. You Instagram models, blinded by the light. You know what I'm saying? You niggas signing contracts, joining the Freemasonries, joining the fraternities and the sororities. Blinded by the light. So let's look and see what happens, at the end when you blinded by the light on the judgment day. And it says, and Satan will say when the matter is decided, meaning on the judgment day, it was the higher power or God who gave you a promise of truth. I too promised, but I failed in my promise to you. I had no authority over you except to call you, but you listened to me, then reproach me not, but reproach your own souls. I cannot listen to your cries, nor can you listen to mine. I reject your former act in associating me with Allah. For wrongdoers, there must be a grievous penalty. So right here, you have the Shayateen telling his followers on Judgment Day. He gonna say, look, the judgment or the matter has been decided. It was the higher power who promised you the truth. I too promised you that, but I lied to you. I failed in my promise. So Satan is going to admit to everybody who's made a contract to him that look, I lied to you. OK, I gave you a few material possessions, but what I needed in return, it was much bigger. And I had to use a deception. I had to blind you with my light in order to make you do it. Because if you knew on the judgment day that this would be what's rendered towards you, you wouldn't have done it. So, yeah, I lied to you. Then he going to say, I had no authority over you except to call you. He said, I had no authority over you. So that means that you chose to do this deal with me. You chose to do the blood ritual with me. You chose to do the child sacrifice ritual for me. You chose to do the pedophilic ritual for me. You chose to do the bestiality ritual for me. So you chose this, just like you could have chose to stay on the path that the higher power designed for you, but you didn't want to do that. You got to remember, just like it said in Matthew, Shayateen, he knows the scripture. He knows the code. He knows the commandments. He knows the covenants. He knows the agreements that the forefathers have made. So he knows what we're supposed to be doing. That's how he knows how to get you to that's why he'll show you the complete opposite, because he knows what you're supposed to be doing. So just know that on that great day that the cult of Lucifer will be told by Satan himself that, hey, I lied to you. All right. And if you want to know where I'm getting that from, it's in the chapter Ibrahim, Surah 14, verse 22. And Satan will, tell the people on Judgment Day